I did it, but I was
Hey guys, can I pet your dog?
Yes. What is this for?
So I'm with VT Engage, which is the Center for Leadership and Service Learning, and basically we're doing some voter education today. It's great talking to you guys. My name is Maya Mehdi. I'm the director of Hokies Vote Caucus. If you use this QR code, you can put in your address and it will tell you what representatives are up for election. I've always been really passionate about voting rights specifically. Both my parents are Syrian immigrants, so I was always raised around this culture of, how awesome democracy is and how it really is a beautiful thing to have your voice valued and to speak up and to empower the people around you. Do you have a second to talk about voting by any chance?
Sure.
College students have been at the forefront of political activism since forever. UC Berkeley is a huge hub of political activity. It's where the disability rights movement started and where it continues to this day. And so I know that college students have the power to make that change. And I know that students like that exist on every campus.
I'm Beth Obenchain. I'm a board member of the League of Women Voters of Montgomery County. So we're fortunate tonight to have Dr. Brandy Faulkner as our moderator.
Thank you so much. Am I coming through okay? Is my sound good?
But that's one of the purposes of our program tonight, is to have two women who've been on the Board of Supervisors and the City Council, who've been very active in local elected positions, to talk specifically about how they became involved. What's your first step before you sign up to run for Congress?
The first political, feeling I ever had was in fourth grade.
I do have a voice. I do have something to say. If you don't have a seat at the table, you might be on the menu for lunch.
What we're trying to do is get our audience tonight and in the future to think about what are those first steps you can take locally to become involved, because that is so important. And of course, if they start to do that, then they will vote on the local elections and be, again, much more knowledgeable of issues.
The voter turnout and the voter registration that's come from the Virginia Tech campus is incredible compared to other colleges. Why is that?
I think you're seeing a group of students that are motivated. We have Ut Prosim as the university motto, and so wanting to make social change in their communities and realizing that this is one of the ways that they're able to do that. I'm Jess Davis. I'm the Assistant Director for Leadership and Civic Engagement in VT Engage, the Center for Leadership and Service Learning. I think we're seeing a lot more divisiveness in society broadly. There's a lot of mis and disinformation that is out there, and so this allows students to come together, have a conversation about a topic, and really kind of walk away and think through, what does this mean for my community? Because we also know that solutions look different for every community, right? It's not going to be the same, and so how can we talk through what those look like for our community here?
What are some of the limitations? What do you run into when you're trying to educate students on voting rights?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest limitation to students voting is really that time piece, right? And I don't think it's different for any other person too, right? But we know our college students are taking classes, they are holding part-time jobs, some of them might be full-time jobs, right? They have all these other things that are happening in their lives, and so carving out that time can sometimes be difficult, particularly when I think about our first-year voters, right? There's nothing like going to the polling place on election day. You're going, you're getting your ballot, you fill it out, you get your sticker. I think it's a really exciting time, and so we're seeing a lot more of our students wanting to wait rather than do early voting options so that they can have that experience. And so sometimes you're like, oh man, I have a big test coming up, right? Things happen, and we see that time and time again. And so we want to make voting more fun so that we can think about what are some of those early voting pieces that we can make that just as fun and exciting as what it looks like on election day.
Registrars in Virginia in this area made it very hard for college students to vote. They only wanted them to vote where their parents lived. And so the biggest change we've seen is students can now choose. Do we want to vote on campus? Do we want to vote here? Or perhaps we know the candidates and the issues a little better in our hometown, whether it's Northern Virginia or Harrisonburg. So that's been a great improvement.
And something unique to Virginia Tech is there's actually a voting precinct on campus.
Yep.
Talk to me about that.
Since the 2016 election, they've been voting in the Squires Student Center. And so if students are registered to vote here on campus, they're able to use that precinct to vote. And so it's a pretty fun time. The entire ballroom is kind of decked out in people for the precinct to be able to cast their ballots.
How were you able to get the whole campus to rally around this?
Well, I mean, I think asking people to register to vote is a pretty easy thing to rally around. I think it's one of those rights that we have as a citizen that we want to exercise. But I think the important piece too is that we really have support from top down. It's really exciting and great to see a new generation kind of coming up and having that excitement.
One of the things we want is for college students and younger voters to realize that they are a powerful bloc. If they just get together and register and believe that their vote matters, they could have a huge impact.
I feel like voting is the first step, and then you can push people to really be activists and be the person to take that first step to make the change they want to see. So.
Stay up to date with our latest Solutionaries videos. Hit subscribe and leave us a comment below.